Now, originally, when I was going to record this episode, I was just going to go with a singular train of thought. Theo is Halbrand's abandoned son. That's it. That was going to be the video. And then people in the comments from my last video, where I was talking about Halbrand possibly being the Witch King himself, somebody spun a theory out that I went, oh my god, if that's true, that's brilliant. Which is that Halbrand, if he is truly Sauron, which he could be, then Theo may end up becoming the Witch King and being his commander because he's his son. I don't know if that's the case, but we're going to be diving into more of that connection between Theo and Halbrand and what I think is going on here and the sword that he's got and more. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfell. Welcome back to another episode of my Rings of Power Rant series, where you get to hear from me, the bearded dwarven princess, as I talk about all the things that I think are funny and interesting about the show. What's up, Sam? Are you itching? This is his fifth. They got neutered on Saturday, so yeah. What's up? Oh, you're a good boy, but you got a scratchy itch, do you? You want to scratch your neck and you can't because of the stupid cone. All right, well, let's talk about this. So, um, in this most recent episode, we have a sequence where this old man catches Theo after Theo returns from, getting supplies from the town and tosses this flask down on the floor in front of him. And the flask has the same symbol on it that Halbrand has in that thing around his neck, right? That leather bag. And the old man, who goes from being somewhat of a cranky old fart, becomes like a sinister old dude who gives Theo this speech about how, I know you've got my sword. I know you took it. That's the sword that was given to the descendants of the old king who served Morgoth, and that sword was created by Sauron as a birthright for our people. And we already see that when he says it's a birthright given to the kings, like to the bloodline of the kings. Sam is being all sorts of Twitter pated. He's just happy to get some scratches. During the episode, we see that when Theo is defending himself against the orc, he stabs himself in the arm with the sword, and he gives himself a mark, and the blood causes the blade to come out. And when the old man like grabs his hand, it they both got the same mark on their hand on their arm. So the old man has done this before, so he knows the sword as its power and everything else. Which is the originally why I was looking at this, going, okay. So if Theo is part of the bloodline, and that's how he can use the sword, because the sword, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm saying if the sword responds to the blood of the bloodline, and that's how it activates, then Theo is part of that bloodline of kings. And if Halbrand is also of the bloodline of kings, then I was placing my bet on Theo being Halbrand's abandoned child, and that's why Bronwyn's off living, with her kid in the middle of nowhere because her husband or whoever he was, Halbrand abandoned her and left the kid. And we don't know that it was abandonment. It could have been Halbrand went off to fight orcs and got captured or something, but they were fleeing, sailing off to Numenor, I believe his ship was, when I got attacked by the sea beast. So they were like deserters or something. I don't know. Were they deserters? Maybe they were sent off to find help for the southern kingdoms. We don't know exactly what was going on yet, but we do kind of get suspicious of Halbrand because his character is just kind of sus and kind of a douchebag anyway. Although he is one of the better written characters on the show so far. Um, he's not necessarily a very likable guy. Um, what's up, Sam? Anyway, before we get on to the next part of the video, when I want to talk about the connection between these two and how people who have theorized that Halbrand is Sauron and so on and so forth, this is the part of the video where I say, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you get more. Like all of these people who support the channel, you should do the same. Drop a super thanks down there. It's how I continue to get to do this full time. So if you like my Rings of Power videos, drop a super thanks down there. $2, $5, whatever you can. It's a great way to say thanks and to contribute to keeping the lights on, the internet paid, the air conditioning paid, and these little rascals fed. Since we have like 8 rescue cats now that we rescued. Yeah, little crazy guys. You can also join as a member of the Adventurers Guild down there if you want to do a subscription. It's $2.99 a month. You can kind of consider me like another HBO or Disney Plus if you want to go the subscription route. And of course, you can always tune into a live stream, contribute that way. This is one of the first episodes I've done where I don't have something in the background or I'm reading off something. I'm just petting a cat and ranting about this. So, in the comments section, more than one person has already theorized that Theo is Halbrand's son. Now, I originally said in the previous episode, I think there are too many red herrings for Halbrand to be Sauron. I just think if they were to do that, if they were to really make him Sauron, it's going to be one of the worst reveals ever in the history of television and film because they gave us so many clues like he likes to smith, he's had many names, he comes from the south, he knew who the orcs were even though Galadriel hadn't seen them in forever. Like there's all of these things. He's a master manipulator, he's master of lying, he knows how to fight. Like it's all of these things that point to him potentially being Sauron. And if he is, that'll be the biggest just meh moment of all time. But I don't want him to be because I think that there are way too many red herrings and it's way too obvious that he's Sauron. So I like to think that he's going to be set up as the Witch King. But the other theory to this is that not only is Theo his son, whether abandoned or otherwise, but the theory that was put forth in my last YouTube video in the comment section was that Halbrand is Sauron in man form to deceive everyone. And when they get back here and they unite the kingdoms, right? It's not going to be uniting the kingdoms to fight against Sauron. It's going to be, we'll see how that goes. But when he comes back, he's going to be coming back and finding Theo with his sword. And he's going to go, ah, my son, you found the sword. You are now ready to become the Witch King. And the Witch King, as we all know, the Witch King of Angmar, had sorcerer's powers. Now, a lot of people have said that in the lore and in the additionally published books and beyond, it's been proven that the Witch King was a Black Númenórean. It hasn't been proven. It has been said that probably the Witch King was a Númenórean, but there's no actual evidence that says he was or wasn't. All it says about the Nazgul is that they were warriors, sorcerers, and kings of old. Now, we know that he's a king, right? This is why I think it the Witch King is Halbrand, because we know he's a king, we know he's a powerful warrior, and if he gets his hands on that sword, he himself will have sorcerer's powers. But it could very well be that Theon is the one that's going to have the sorcerer's powers and becomes the Witch King, while Halbrand is revealed to be Sauron. But I think it far more likely that Halbrand is going to come back. He's going to get the sword from his son Theo. He's going to take that sword. He's going to become this badass warrior, and he's going to become corrupted more so than he already is. And he's going to use these sorcerer's powers that the sword gives him to become the Witch King, who becomes Sauron's lieutenant. Those are my predictions. Now, I could be wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So drop them down there, and I look forward to hearing what everyone else thinks. And until next time, stay safe. Happy reading and happy viewing. Don't forget there will be on Friday morning my next review for episode 5. Look forward to dissecting that one with everybody. Until next time, cheers, everybody.